Listen, I'm absolutely loving Heated Rivalry. I'm loving these characters. I was thinking that what if, right? What if different people met different people, right? We know the couples that have been set on the show. We're following them. But I was wondering, what if, somebody else is meant for somebody else, or if the circumstances were different, alternate timelines, right? So I decided to let the twisted hands of fate decide here. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna toss them all into a randomizer and let it just spit out for us random couple options and see and kind of talk through and see, is there a possibility there? Are these two people, based on the characteristics we've seen so far? At this point, I'm up to episode 4 of the show, and I've not read the books. What would happen? Could this work? Could this be something that we haven't thought about yet that could be really good? Or could this be explosive? Could this be, don't even go there? So I'm gonna, just run these through. I've set this all up. It took a long time to set this up. And I'm going to sort of like talk through and just have fun with it. Now, in this alternate timeline, or in these timelines, we're going to assume, or it's going to be the thing that they all swing both ways. There's all the possibility that they can be with each other, or at least to some extent, right? So here's our magic randomizer wheel, the wheel of choice, of chance, of love. Okay, so I will spin this wheel, and as we form couples, we're going to remove them off, and then we're going to talk about them totally, like what would happen. Okay, okay, you ready? Let's go. All right. Oh, Svetlana. Okay, Svetlana is our first one. We're including Svetlana here as well. Of course, she's friends with Ilya, but I think that character actually deserves even a little bit more conversation on this show. I think she's really interesting. So okay, Svetlana is our first. Let's see who fate has deemed Svetlana to be paired up with here. Let's go. I think I'm going to remove Svetlana first, or let me just spin the wheel and see. Oh, hopefully it doesn't choose her again. Oh, Scott and Svetlana. Okay, we have our first couple. This is so ridiculous. Scott and Svetlana. I'm gonna remove them from the running so they don't choose them again. Okay, go. Oh, here we go. Rose. Okay, who's Rose gonna be paired up with here? Let's see. Rose again. I should have removed Rose. Spin again. If she gets 3 times, then she's just meant to be with her. Okay. Okay. So we have our final matches now. So Svetlana and Scott, Ilya and Rose, and then the last two, of course, are Shane and Kip. Okay. So let's go in. Let's go in and put them together. Okay. So first match, Svetlana and Scott. Then we have Rose and Ilya, and then we have Kip and Shane. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna talk through these potential matches, and I'm going to give them 1 or 3 ratings. Okay. We're either going to be put a ring on it, which is the very top, which is this is fire. There's so much potential here. I see this blossoming. I see this happening. Um, or it's going to be, let's just be friends, which is, I see them being close. I see them having some type of relationship. It could work, maybe, but it's just not, there are no sparks there, in my opinion. And then finally, at the bottom, we have Recipe for Disaster. And Recipe for Disaster, you don't want that one because it just means they're just not gonna gel. It's just not gonna work. It could be really explosively bad, or it could just be there's no chemistry. All right. Okay. First, first matchup, Svetlana and Scott. Okay, so I jotted down a little bit of each person and some of the characteristics that they had, right? So for Scott, for example, Scott, can be a little bit shy, but I said likely due to inexperience with guys, right? Not necessarily true in career or like other areas. Of course, he's closeted. I said fiercely closeted. So he definitely has needs privacy, someone who understands that. However, this is not going to be an issue here in this case. This is not going to be an issue with Svetlana. But he goes for what he wants. He's intentional. He's self-proclaimed intense, called that by his friends. Can be seen as passionate, unrelenting. He said, "I'm asking for what I want." He wants it. He asks for it. Um, and then Svetlana, has some similar stuff there too. Svetlana is forward. She's confident. She's not shy. She says what's on her mind. She means what she says. She's intuitive. She was called psychic. She knows what she brings to the table, her value, and she'll remind you of it. She's fun, she's wild, she's open to new experiences, but doesn't seem judgmental, right? Passionate about hockey, she knows her stuff. Svelana is a firecracker, right? And Scott is intense, he's passionate. If they were together, what would that be if they found each other? I can see an attraction there. I can see an attraction there. I can see them both being I can see Scott walking up to Svetlana, or vice versa, actually. As Svetlana actually would walk up and be like, "Hey, I think you're cute," and do her thing. And I see Scott actually vibing well with that, or like um, kind of like that being a thing for him. And yeah, I see that possibly working. I don't see that as just friends. I see that there could be some sparks there. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think Svetlana is also someone that's caring. Like she could be like fiery and fun and wild, but she can be soft. Like we've seen her be soft with Ilya. We've seen her be gentle. We've seen her be intuitive, asking questions. And so I think that could work well with Scott as well. Someone who lays it on, who's very upfront, says it's all on the table. I think that could be a put a ring on it type situation. I think they could work. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with my gut on that. Put a ring on it, honestly. Okay, okay. That's our first. Now, Rose and Ilya. Okay. Rose and Ilya. Okay. Okay. Let's look at Ilya first. Ilya is very dominant. He likes control. He's funny. He's witty, quippy. He doesn't like boring. I think he would appreciate someone who can volley with him back and forth. Someone who he's kind of hot and cold. He needs someone who's intuitive about this. Can either diffuse or energize, leave alone. He wears his emotions on his face. You'll know when he's mad or he's going through something. You'll know. Um, and yeah, and then Rose, not too much. We don't know too much about her yet, but from the short time we've seen her, she's caring. She's a good conversationalist. She's supportive, empathetic. She's intuitive. Seems open, not judgmental. So there, two of them together. I don't see it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't see it. I feel like Ilya's kind of brash nature might be too much for Rose. I think she might be a little bit put off by it. I think she might be, I don't know, who does this guy think he is? I think so, but not in like a hot way. I don't know, but the thing is, I don't know enough about Rose yet to know if that's true. But from the time we've seen her with Shane, it was kind of very sweet. It was very tender. It was very sort of cute. And Ilya is not sweet, tender, and cute. He can be. He can be soft, but he kind of goes. His pickup line is like, "Yo," like he's very. He goes for chirps. He goes for little like kind of witty comments and stuff, and that may not necessarily sit well on like a first attraction thing. So I'm just gonna say it. I think this is a recipe for disaster. I don't think this is gonna work, and let's just quit while we're ahead here. So, okay. Our last possible couple here, Shane and Kip. Okay, okay. Let's talk about Shane. Shane, I wrote down leans more sort of kind of gives like a little bit submissive energy. I think he likes to give up control, but not exclusively. He can be funny, but usually leans more serious, straightforward. Has been called cold, shy, takes time to open up, needs someone who can crack him to like get through. He's kind of, I would say repressed, and keeps a lot inside, likely even from himself. He may not know who he is fully or what he actually wants. Of course, he's closeted, so there's that part of it too. He needs privacy, he needs someone who understands. He's also very proper. We saw the folding of the clothes. I think he's procedural. Like he takes things, step by step. We even had some notes that he's someone who's never late. I think his parents mentioned that, not usually late. So I got from that he's maybe kind of type A-ish. Maybe he's kind of needs structure, you know, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm piecing together from Shane's personality. Now we have Kip on the other side. I think Kip is sort of like, a switch in that sense. He kind of he's able to kind of be what the occasion calls for his partner. I don't think he has specific leanings in that way. Empathetic, cares deeply, may forego his intentions to please, a partner. Staying, privacy stuff with Scott. He's out. He has an established friend group. He knows who he is, and his friends, love him for who he is. He has a loving dad. He has all of that going on, and I think he's more open about who he is, and he's kind of more fully realized, emotionally stable. What you see is what you get. So Shane and Kip. I see that. Honestly, low key, I see it. I see something there. But on the other hand, I'm thinking about Shane and Ilya, right? Like I'm thinking about how I think Shane is attracted a lot to Ilya's sort of brashness. He's like kind of fiery, says what's on his mind, all of that stuff. We haven't necessarily seen that side of Kip yet, but I think Kip has been sort of dialing back because Scott is a little bit dialed back in public anyways. But I think in general, I think Kip is someone that could be that kind of not fiery necessarily, but kind of he can definitely drive that up if needs be. I think he's that person. So I think he can be that person for Shane, not necessarily in the same way Ilya is, but I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be like a fiery, passionate, like roller coaster romance, as with Ilya. But I think there could be something tender and loving there that could work. I think it's something that, if those two were married, I think they would have a nice marriage. I don't know that it would be like, yeah, like perform for me and all this stuff and all this stuff, and kind of the bratty kind of nature he has with Ilya won't be there. But I don't think that's all about who Shane is. I think there's layers to him, and I see Shane possibly appreciating Kip's sort of emotional, kind of intelligent side and understanding, which he's cultivated by having all these resources, his dad, his friends. And I see that working well for someone like Shane who needs to open up to somebody who he can talk to and who can kind of pull that out of him. I see Kip being able to scratch the surface and go deeper. So I see that working. I see it actually like something that you can keep looking at, and it could really work. I'm going to say put a ring on it. I'm going to say put a ring on it. I think there's definitely sexual chemistry there. I think there's potential there. I think there's cuteness there, and I wouldn't dismiss that because of the differences between him and Ilya. No. So okay. So those are our first three couples. This randomizer that we've done now. Um, and honestly, I'm taking some notes here. I'm taking some notes here. Okay, let's do this again. Let's run this again and see what comes through and sort of decide. Okay, let's go. Who's our first candidate here? Rose. Okay, who we pairing Rose up with? Forget Rose again. Okay, Rose and Shane, our first two. Ooh, Scott. Who are we pairing with Scott? Scott again. I should remove him. Scott and I have to put that laugh in there. I'm sorry. It's so Ilya, that laugh, is it not? Scott and Ilya. Okay, let's have that conversation. And then, of course, Svetlana and Kip. Okay. Shane and Rose, we already know because we've seen that that could happen. It's cute. There's good conversation. There's good banter. There is understanding. I think I don't know what's gonna happen, but I definitely see Shane as someone who could open up a little bit more to Rose. She definitely, when they had their chats, she was definitely asking leading questions, not leading questions, but questions that are specific and pointed. And she was also intuitive, noticing things that she has heard of or things she's watched or whatever seen, and bringing that up again and sort of asking these sort of very interesting questions that help to understand somebody fully. So she's that person, and I think, and I thought, as I mentioned, that the date went well, and I'm not like, I wasn't like, oh, okay, this is just somebody else because he's not talking to Ilya right now. No, this seemed like something that was cute and special, and I think he was reacting well to it. So I do see them working. I do see it. I do see it possibly working. You would have to, obviously, we'll have to know more a little bit about Rose, and you know, she doesn't know this side to him in this alternate reality too. He's he still has the side of him that he hasn't opened up about yet, and so that's a big factor in how she's able to respond to that, and what that does to them, and Shane himself opening up more. I see them working though. I see them working, but is it just friends? Is it really just friends with two of them, or is it something that could be, I think it's friends. Let's just be honest. I think I'm just thinking about him thinking about Ilya while he was with her. I think that's a big part of it. I think that's a big part of it. And yes, we're doing alternate reality here, but still, I still feel like if it's not Ilya, maybe it's somebody else. And where the idea that he's thinking about somebody else and he's not focusing on what he has is a pointer. So I'm just gonna give it friends for now. But honestly, there is potential. I'm not gonna lie. Let's just be friends, okay? Ilya and Scott. Ooh, Ilya and Scott. Yo, what would that be? Ilya is so forward. He's so go, 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 go. He's talked about Scott. He's mentioned Scott. Like he could have an attraction to Scott. There was kind of like mentioned. And Scott, on the other hand, is also someone he was stand up for himself. He can taunt. He can do all those things. I think, is it just two, heads bashing against each other? Is that what it is? And there's no sort of flow there? Is that what's happening? I think that could happen. I think there could be passionate intimacy, whatever there. Stuff could happen. There could be a fiery night where they go in and do all the things. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't see that lasting toward more than just like hookups, friends with benefits. I see them blowing up at a point. I see him. I see Ilya. Don't you just see right now Ilya saying something, and Scott is just like, dude, I'm out of here, and just like leaving. He's like, I don't have to tolerate this. And I think that might just be it. And also on Ilya's side, would he find Scott, super interesting, super whatever in the way that he likes? I don't know. I don't think that's the case. There's something, for example, about Shane that, he jokes that he's boring, but actually there's something about him that he finds super interesting. It's not just about sex. It's more than that. So I don't see that same type of chemistry happening with Scott, other than just, in the bedroom, right? So I'm gonna just go ahead and say this is gonna be explosive. This is a recipe for disaster. I think this might be just too much to handle. So recipe for disaster. I'm so sorry, guys. Last but not least, Svetlana and Kip. So cute. Now listen, I think Svetlana. I'm looking at them right now in these pictures, and all I keep thinking is Svetlana being like, "Oh, he's so cute." I just see him as like Svetlana would devour Kip. She would devour Kip. She would devour him. I think so. I think Svetlana is just she's just so wild. I mean, Kip is wild. I wouldn't say Kip is wild. Kip is more, sort of more cute energy. Like, look at that, very puppy energy, and golden retriever or whatever. She's more like she's a fiery girl. So I think it might just not be something that could work in that sense, but I think they could be good friends. I think she's someone who would be very like, okay, Kip, like if she just as for example, like with the situation with Scott, she would be the one stepping in just like Kip's friend did, and she would be the one doing exactly that and being like, no, you have to make sure you don't hurt him, and you think about him through all of this. I think that's the kind of friend that she would be. She would be really supportive for him, and but I don't see them doing anything more than that. So this is friendship. This is friendship right here. Okay. 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 In the it's only six couples. There's possibility for more, things happening here, but I'm going to finally go and make uh my own matchups based on what I know, right? Let's start with Shane. Shane. From what we've talked about so far, Shane needs somebody who can be there for him. Shane needs somebody who can be patient with him. Shane needs somebody who can be supportive. Shane needs somebody who's understanding. And also on the other side, intimacy wise, sexually wise, he also needs that fire. He needs that, push and pull, the all of that stuff going on. There is that side to him which we've seen. So on that side, compatibility side, Ilya, of course, we've seen that happen. But will Ilya really be that person on the other side? Will he get there? Will they be able to go there? Or is this just going to be 5 years, 10 years later, 6 years later, this, that, and it takes forever. This is time just passing, time that you need to invest in building a relationship, and it's not happening. Okay. So who is that person? Who can do that? Who can be that person for him and can also satisfy, intimacy wise and be able to do all those things? I'm gonna be honest right now. I'm gonna tell you right now, from based on what we just saw on the randomizer, I think that person I think that person is Kip. I'm honest because I think there is this part about coming out. There is this part about privacy which he went through. Kip went through with Scott, but I think Kip might be the right one for Shane to be able to talk about that situation. I think if Kip invited Shane to come to meet his friends, I think Shane would actually show up. I think Shane would actually go. Maybe not in the bar, maybe at home. And I think that could be the beginning of Shane being able to like be around people that will help him, start being comfortable, a lot more comfortable with a lot of these things. I think Shane would fit right in though, and I think we'll start to see a different side of Shane, that playful side of Shane that comes out sometimes with Ilya. I think he'll be able to really play with that, and before you know it, something wild would happen. I see this. I see this. I see this. I see this. I see this working. I'm gonna be honest. Let's look at this. This could work. Okay, put a ring on it. Put a ring on it. Okay. Okay now. All right. Okay. Our boy, Ilya. Ilya. Is there anyone for Ilya? Is there anyone for Ilya? Who would be out of these options? Who would be the best one for Ilya? Based on what we've said so far, based on the randomizer, these two are already not going to be options because they were both, possible recipe for disaster. So the only thing left is Svetlana. And why would Svetlana work? Why would Svetlana work? Svetlana is already someone who has been intimate with Ilya. She knows him. She understands him. There's a cultural understanding there. There, there's also fire there from what we've seen. I think he truly is attracted to her. He is. And I think he also respects her. He respects her knowledge about the sport. He respects her forwardness. I think that's part of it. He talks about boring all the time. People are boring and not saying what they want or what they mean. I think Svetlana is the right one for him in that sense. She's someone who's not going to be shy to say what's happening. She's called him out many times. He's had to do it like he's had to like think again about what she just said because she's noticed something about what just happened, something that he doesn't even think anyone noticed. She noticed. Svetlana is someone I think notices a lot more than she even lets on, and she lets on a lot. So I think that might be exactly what Ilya needs, and I think she's someone that Ilya can open up to as well because he doesn't open up so much. He's always doing everything else, but I think she's someone he might feel comfortable enough talking to about some of the things that bother him, stuff with family. That's stuff that she might understand a lot more. Um, so I think honestly, I think this could work. I think it's a possibility that they get too wild though, and it just goes off the rails, and then they just stop talking to each other for a while. But I think they'll always find their way back to each other. There's a friendship there that I think is at the root of that I think will make that work or last long. So yeah, let's just put a ring on it, Svetlana and Ilya. I'm coming to the wedding. Okay, so we we have our last two here, right? We have Scott and we have Rose. Now, this is just because they're the last two there, right? Do we do them dirty? Do we just do them dirty, right? Having them the last two and then putting them together. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, right? Scott and Rose. Okay? And in this version, we're assuming that Scott is also attractive. We're assuming that he, that this is possible. Um, let's talk about the personalities. Rose is incredibly cute, incredibly uh supportive, incredibly understanding, incredibly intuitive as well. The same way Svetlana is, I think she is as well. She's someone who will have that conversation. And Scott is passionate. Scott, says what's on his mind. He asks for what he wants, but he has other things he's dealing with as well. And I think she's someone he can talk to. I really do. I see her similar to Kip in that way, where she'll be emotionally intelligent and understanding to know what's going on and to know how to be there with him. I think they could have fun conversation. I think there could be good banter there. I really think so. Um, Now we've seen him obviously have conversations about like sexual stuff and everything, but I see that happening, possibly happening here. I think he's also somebody who could be measured and like careful and all the stuff he said about I'm too lazy to be a serial killer or all those random things he says. I think that's something that she could, especially as someone who's in the arts as well. She's in the arts as well as Kip. Is in arts, and I think she has that sensibility to play around with some of these sort of like ideas that he has, and vice versa, where they could talk about films and talk about all these wild things and just flow. I think they could flow. And this is not just saying because they were the last two to be chosen. I think this could work here. I think this could work here. I don't know. I'm thinking about on the other side. Could it be fiery? Could it be wild in that way? Does it need to be? Does it need to be? Not everybody needs that, or it's not necessary every single time. I think it can be that when it needs to, but I think what's more important is the companionship and the understanding they have together that makes it that could make them last long. So I'm gonna say it. Put a ring on it. Put a ring on this. This is my final couple. Look at this. Would you not go to these three weddings? I would go to these three weddings. And this might not be what the show intended. This might not be what the books intended. But I'm telling you right now, if we do it like this, the show will end on season one. And we don't want that. We want to have season 100 years later. So, with all the shenanigans, with all the conflict, we can't have, just everything work well. But this is my matchmaking. This is what I see happening. So let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. I will say I am certified. I am licensed as a matchmaker. From an accredited institution. Love University. Look it up. Stop. But I'm confident in these choices. I want to hear what everyone thinks though, and what they would say for this. Again, this is alternate universe. This is everyone is swinging both ways. Everyone, this is a possibility. Just having fun with this. But what do you think about these couples and the possibility that they would succeed? And do you see other matchups and mix-ups in here that would work even better? Or are these even possible, like in the current matchup that they are right now? What do you see? Oh, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.